Hello everyone, welcome to this month's user group webinar. My name is Margot Littke and I'm a business consultant with Advisor Solutions. And today I will be introducing you to the brand new 6.0 color workshop. And so I first briefly want to go over what's new and how this is different from color prior to 6.0 and also why we made this change. And then I want to get into the software and demonstrate the new functionalities that have been added. So the main thing that's new is that we now have this concept of color models, and these are going to be a new project object, so similar to tables, links, parse dates, etc. And these will be found in the project workshop, so there will be a new color models node under the project tree. We also have added some color tooling that will make it more obvious of how a project is colored. We've also slightly modified link naming conventions, again to try and make it easier to see what's being linked and by what fields. We have added the ability to manage pages in the project workshop, so there will be another node, pages node, under the project tree. And the color workshop functionalities have been moved to the project workshop. And again, these will be under a separate node in the project tree. So the way coloring works in Advisor is that the data is colored, not the chart. The chart just receives color from data in the tables that they're set to. So we basically had one global color model in the software prior to 6.0 that would color all data in the project. And it was made up of color assignments, and you made these from the page toolbar. You would select the color table, and then from the color toolbar you'd select the field and scale. And then it was also, the global color model was also made of links as well, color links, which would propagate color from one table to another. And all pages in the project shared the same global color model. So page 1, 2, and 3 would all be colored the same thing. But we had an exception, which was color lock pages. So you could set a color to a page and lock it, and then if you went to another page and colored it by another field or scale, the color lock pages coloring would not change. However, the color links were still global to everything, including the lock pages. And with this setup, we ran into overcoloring, which means a table was colored more than once. And so when this happened, projects would not be colored how you expected, and it would be unclear as to how color was being applied. And so, for example, if you had a color lock page and then had a link targeting the tables that were on that page, a color link, it would be overcolored because it would have an assignment and receiving color from a link. You could also have instances where the table could be a target of multiple color links and being colored by different things. So overcoloring is the main reason why we have totally redone color in 6.0. We have now checks in place also that will prevent overcoloring, so it's not possible anymore in the new software to overcolor. So with that said, the main thing is now you can have multiple color models in 6.0. And they're still composed of assignments, color assignments, and color links. However, they are now applied to assigned to pages. So the default color model would color page 1 and page 2, and then if you switch to page 3, it could be a totally different color model, different colors, different links, etc. And so every project has a default color model. It's automatically created when you build a project. And when you create new pages or add pages, they're automatically assigned the default color model. So if you have a second color model 2, and you want to assign it to page 3, you have to go and manually assign page 3 color model 2. So let's get into the software and start doing some examples. So I have been building this project, and it's almost completed, but I still have a few more links, selection links to put in, and a few color links. So I'm going to go to the project workshop right away. And here you can see that there is a color models node. And if I click on it, you can see a list of the color models, if it's in use, how many assignments are in it, the links, and then you have a task pane here that you can create a new color model. And this node expands, and you can click on a specific color model. And so this default color model already has 3 color links. Here, again, you have tasks you can perform: assign color, create a color link, view the color sequence. You can copy models or duplicate models. And then down here you have a list of all the tables and their color assignments. And this tab here, you can see all the color links. And you can modify or delete them from here. So I know that I need to, I want to color this project by primary staff since it's a staff performance management project. And the assignments are in the core table. And I can see that I already have several of the tables that are in use in this project linked to the core table. So I'm sure you noticed, it's all purple, so it's not colored right now. And that's because there's no assignment set yet. So if I go, I can set color either by clicking Modify next to the table, or I can do it under the tasks as well. So I'm going to click Modify, and I find the field Primary Staff Name. And I want to change the color scale to pastel here, and click OK. And so now you can see that the color method for the core table has changed to assigned, and you can see what scale I set it to and what it's colored by. Now you'll also notice that the Modify buttons next to the tables that the core table has color links to have gone away. And that's to prevent overcoloring. Since these tables are already receiving color, you cannot assign them another color. So there are 2 ways to make color links. You can make a matching color link in the default color model while making a selection link via the link wizard, or you can use the color link builder, which is found in the color models dialog. So I know I just added the gifts table, so I want to create a selection link and a color link. So for this one, I'm going to use the link wizard. So it's in the same place, the same icon. You go through the steps, and now you notice that the color link option is no longer here because that's found in the color models dialog now. So I'm going to create a selection link from core table on ID. And just to note, if you try to create a matching color link in the default color model that's already receiving color, you would not be able to. So if I tried to color proposals on ID number next, and so here I'm going to leave this option checked to create a matching color link in the default color model, you will not be able to, and it tells you why, because it would allow overcoloring. So that's one of the checks that is in place in the software to prevent overcoloring. So I really want to do gifts to ID next, and I do want a matching color link. It's not colored in the default model yet. Finish. And so you can see now the Modify button is removed from gifts, and it's colored by the core table assignment. So you also have the option to only show colored tables. So if I click that, all the tables that are not receiving color are gone. And so now I can tell that I'm missing a color link to my contacts table. So I'm going to create a color link using the color link builder. And you do this from the task pane. So click Create. And I'm going to select from core table on ID. And here we made it so it's very clear what color is going to be applied. So here's the assignment for the core table. And this is the direction of the link. So contact reports is going to be receiving this color, an ID number. Click OK. And so now the table shows up because it's colored. And of course, the link, the gifts link is here too, and the contacts report link. So like I said, by default, pages are automatically assigned the default color model. So if I go to the activities report page, you can see it's now colored. And here's the color legend. So it's working properly. So there are some other reasons why we made coloring this way is to allow for you to color a page by a table that's already being colored by something else. So in this instance, you would need a separate color model. And on this page, I want to color it by the penetration level. And these charts are on the core table, so I can't reassign this. If I reassign the core table to penetration level, it would recolor every page to that. So in this case, I want to create a new color model. And so I'm going to go back to the project workshop, click on the color models node, and click create a new color model. And I'm going to label this prospect penetration and click OK. And so now the new model was added to my list, and you can see that for models besides the default color model, you can delete them and rename them in this interface. So I'm going to click on the new model that I created, and all I need to do is assign color to the core table, because all the charts on the prospect penetration page are set to the core table. So I'm going to click Assign, go to Core Table, and I want to color it by coverage or penetration, and I'm going to leave it as rainbow and click OK. And so now you can see that the core table is going to be colored by coverage, status, and rainbow in this color model. So now I need to assign the prospect penetration page this color model. So I can do this in the Pages node. Like I mentioned before, you can now manage pages from the project workshop. And so if you click on the node, you can see how many pages you have, how many are separators, the number of charts on each page, and you can create a new page here. And also you can get to the properties, duplicate, delete, or even go to the specific page. So, and of course these same options are available when you click on the individual page. So you can see activities report is assigned the default color model, and you have all these tasks you can complete too. So I need to go to the prospect penetration, and I'm going to open the properties and set it to the new color model that I created, and click OK. So now I can go to this page, and I'll do it from the tasks, and you can see it has, the color has updated. And if I go back to the activities report page, it's still colored by the default color model. So now there are another thing that's useful for, or another instance for this new coloring is if you have a page where you want charts colored by different fields on the same page. So for this page, coloring by primary staff isn't very useful for me because it's by primary staff. So I would find it more useful if I had these two charts colored by the prospect's rating, and if I had this one colored by an indicator that let me know whether or not an ask amount was greater than the expected value. So I know that this table is set to the core, or this chart is set to the core table, and this one's set to the visits table, and this one is the proposal. So I know these, I can color link them, and the rating is found in the core table, so I'm going to keep the link between them. So I'm going to go to the project workshop, and to speed this up, I'm going to just copy the default color model. So I just click copy, and you can see it has appeared under the color models node. And so I click on it, and I'm going to rename it Staff Activity Metrics, and click OK. And I just want to look at the tables that are colored. So I'm going to modify this core table assignment to show rating. So modify, rating, and I want to change it to rainbow and click OK. Now, since this proposal table is linked to the core table, it's receiving color. So I need to delete that link so I can assign it a different field. So I go to the Cross Table Links tab and find the link right here and just click delete. So now the proposal table is uncolored. So I need to show the uncolored. And so now I can assign it. So I'm going to find the flag that lets me know if the ask is greater than the expected value. And I'm going to change it to green-red and click OK. And again, I need to assign the color model to that page. So staff activity metrics, properties, and the new model that I created. Click OK. So we can go to this page. And you can see that the coloring is different between these charts and this one. So now you're probably wondering, how do I get to the color legend for this chart that's not colored by that field? You can do that by changing the color table. Now you will notice that the tables that are linked to the core table in this color model are not available. So there's no contacts report I can click on. And that's because essentially you're assigning color when you change this color table. So it would be, since it's linked, it would be overcolored. So that's not available. But I can switch to the proposal table since it's just assigned a color. And the legend updates to show you what the colors mean. So now we do have a color sequence feature that allows you to see exactly how color is being applied in a model. So for example, you come back into the project and you're not sure how the staff activity metrics page is colored. You just click on the model and open the sequence. And so this is a sequence for the whole model, but you do have the option to select specific tables. So this will give you step-by-step of what's happening. So rainbow is assigned to the core table, and then it is propagated from the core table to the visits table by a color link, and then from core to gifts by a color link, core to contacts report by a color link, and core to proposals completed by a color link. And then here you see that green-red is just assigned to proposals. So this feature is particularly useful when you're opening legacy projects. And I will show an example of a legacy project that has overcoloring. So I'm going to open the project workshop, click on the color models, and you can see that this legacy project has several color models. And the reason for that is these pages were color locked. So any pages that were color locked in software prior to 6.0, color models will be created for those pages. So I'm just going to look at the default color model. And so one other feature that we have is this option to highlight overcolored. So this is one place that flags when there's overcoloring, and you can see that a lot of tables are being overcolored right now. The other place is in the sequence, but I'm just going to look at the sequence for the core table. So this is another way to get to a particular table sequence. And so I can see that these steps down here are overcoloring the table, the core table. So if I look at it, I can see that rainbow is assigned to unique contacts reports, and then this assignment is propagated to the contact reports via link, and then contacts report is linked to the core table. So right there, the core table is receiving color from the contacts report. Then you can see that rainbow is assigned to proposal type, and then proposal is color linked to the core table. So now the core table is receiving color from two links. Then you can see that rainbow is assigned to the core table. So now you have the core table receiving 2 links and an assignment. And then also the rainbow is assigned to prospect summary, and this is propagated to the core table once more. So right there you have 4 different, the core table is receiving color from 4 different sources. So that's a problem. And I think because I built this project, I know that these links are due to the color lock pages. So I'm going to delete these links, and we'll see if this fixed overcoloring. So it was, let me look at it one more time, contact, report, proposal, and prospect summary. So I'm going to go to these table links, and here's the contact report, delete, and then also I want to get rid of proposal, the link to proposal, and also prospect summary. So I'm going to come back over here, and it looks like the tables are no longer overcolored. So then if I go to the ratings page, it's colored by rating, you can see that this is now correct. So it may be confusing at first when you're in legacy projects, when you see all the yellow and so many tables overcolored, but if you just go to the sequence, it will make it so much easier. So the last few things, in the color cross table links tab, you also have the option to highlight inoperative links. In this case, there are none, but if there were, it'd be the same thing as highlighting the overcolored. And so sometimes there are inoperative links if in prior versions of the software there was a link created between tables where the key fields didn't have any matching values. So that's one instance where that feature is useful as well. Then, so also I mentioned that we changed the naming conventions of links and copies. And so now links are just, the direction is denoted by carets on either end of a dash. So in these cases, all these links are two-way. And then copies are now denoted by 2 equal signs and a caret. And then roll-ups are denoted the same way. And this was done to make it, to break the origin and destination apart to make it more clear. And then lastly, like I mentioned before, the functionalities of the color workshop are now in the project workshop, and they are under the custom color node. So if you click on it, you can see how many scales you have, how many bins you have. You can create new scales or bins. And these do expand into separate nodes, one for scales and one for bins. And it lists all the color scales that you have created and all the bins. And you can get a preview of each color scale. You can modify or delete from here. If you click on the individual one, again, you get another preview, and you still have tasks. And the same thing goes for the color bins. You can modify or delete them, and you get a preview of what they look like. So in summary, we've made a lot of progress in coloring in our software and our new release. And so we now have the concept of color models, which allows for much more flexibility in coloring a project. And we have color tooling to make it easier for you to see how things are colored and to fix legacy projects. Like naming conventions have changed slightly. You can now manage pages in the project workshop, and the color workshop functionalities have been moved to the project workshop. And I'm sure you're all excited as I am about this new software, and it will be available in a few weeks. So it'll be released in a few weeks. And you will be getting a lot more information. It's on its way. And lastly, there is next month a webinar on our flight recorder. We've made a lot of improvements to this feature as well, so it'd be a really great webinar to tune into. So with that said, does anyone have any questions? You can feel free to type something in the chat or raise your hand. I'm not getting any.
No questions.
Okay. No. All right. Well, thank you. Well, thank you everyone very much for joining me. I hope you found it interesting and have a great rest of your week.